On April 24, 2024, the president of the government of Spain, Pedro Sánchez, left the whole country in suspense. He decided to communicate through a letter to the citizens that he would cancel his public agenda to meditate and reflect on his continuity as head of the presidency of the government due to the accusations against his wife, Begoña Gómez, and in the face of what he considers a campaign of harassment and demolition against him and his wife. This came after the state civil servants union, Manos Limpias, requested the opening of preliminary proceedings against his wife, and this finally happened. In recent months, the Spanish press has begun to publish photos and articles exposing the commercial and professional relationship of the president's wife with private companies that have received funds and public contracts from the current executive. Finally, on April 30th, in a public appearance at the presidential palace, without the option of questions from journalists, Pedro Sánchez announced that he would continue at the head of the government, with more strength if possible, and launched a message to the social majority to mobilize in his defense. After thanking the signs of support, both in the socialist ranks and from his political partners, he also described the attitude of the right wing as democratic perversion. You are probably wondering now, what is the importance of all this? What is hidden behind this move? And, in short, what is going on in Spain? And what is the real danger of the loss of liberties and fundamental rights of democracy? Let's take a look at it.
The Spain of Pedro Sánchez.
Pedro Sánchez began his political career in 2004 by joining the Spanish Socialist Workers' Party and was elected deputy for Madrid in 2009. In 2014, Sánchez rose to the position of Secretary General of the PSOE, but his leadership soon faced significant internal challenges. In 2016, after a lowest election result in years and internal tensions over the party's political strategy, he was removed from office and resigned his seat in Congress. However, Sánchez returned to politics with a vengeance in 2017, when he was re-elected as PSOE Secretary General in a surprise victory in the party's primary elections, supported by the party's base against the old leadership. This victory marked a remarkable comeback and consolidated the establishment of his vision of a more left-leaning PSOE. His rise to power began in June 2018, when he managed to capitalize on a series of corruption scandals that affected the conservative Popular Party government, leading a successful censure motion against President Mariano Rajoy. This was not easy, as the then conservative government held 137 seats in the lower house, while the socialists had only 85 deputies in a parliament of 350 deputies. In order to oust Rajoy's government, he had to make a pact with the ultra-left, the Catalan nationalists, and with those who then supported the Popular Party, the Basque Nationalist Party, who suddenly changed their vote in favor of Sánchez when they publicly said they would vote against the motion of censure. This made Pedro Sánchez president of the Spanish government without having won a general election directly. However, he was governing in a minority with only 85 Socialist Party deputies in a 350-seat parliament, making his government dependent on the support of other parties to pass legislation. This situation of weakness of the new government did not last long, and in 2019, after the general state budgets were rejected, Sánchez announced elections. The 2019 general elections marked a turning point in Spain's political history. The Spanish Socialist Workers' Party emerged as the winner, increasing its deputies from 85 to 123. The Catalan nationalists redoubled their presence in Congress following the events of October 1st, 2017, with the illegal self-determination referendum in Catalonia. The ultra-left coalition of Unidos Podemos lost strength, but in aggregate, the left-wing bloc increased its presence. On the other hand, the right-wing bloc was split into three parties: Citizens, of neoliberal Macronist ideology, the Popular Party, and a new party; Vox, of Spanish nationalist ideology, representing the trend of the rise of the extreme right in Europe. In any case, the PSOE did not find it easy to form a government, since Unidos Podemos demanded to form a coalition government between the two political formations, to which Pedro Sánchez flatly refused. This situation of impossibility of forming a new government led to new elections in 2019. These early elections weakened the left-wing bloc and strengthened the right-wing bloc. The Popular Party and Vox increased their votes, while the Citizens Party began to disappear from the political chessboard. On the other hand, the Socialist Party and Podemos saw their votes slightly reduced in favor of new minority parties. In addition, in these elections, the left-wing Galician nationalists managed to obtain one deputy. Faced with an increasingly complicated panorama, Pedro Sánchez finally agreed to form a government with Unidos Podemos, despite his campaign promises to the contrary. This was Sánchez's first stable government, where the weight of the state in the economy, the government's control over public institutions, the media, and large listed corporations has increased as never seen before. To begin with, as soon as he came to government, Sánchez changed the management of RTVE, the public media company, unfairly dismissing 53 journalists from the management, 31% of the total, in what is known as the Great Purge of Spanish radio and television. With this, Sánchez guaranteed to have public television and radio on his side, putting party-friendly journalists on the most popular news and debate channels. In fact, his last move in this regard takes place in 2024, when after tensions in the top management of RTVE, a disproportionate millionaire contract is awarded for the broadcasting of La Resistencia, a program hosted by a left-wing humorist. The idea behind this move is to compete with El Hormiguero, a primetime program on Monday through Thursday nights, which is usually quite critical of the government in the current affairs section. In addition, the surveys of the Sociological Research Center, a Spanish state agency whose director, a Socialist Party militant, was personally chosen by Sánchez, have become famous, and whose electoral surveys differ notably from the average of the rest of the surveys of private consulting firms. The opposition believes that the Socialist Party has turned this state agency into a means of self-promotion, inflating its electoral expectations for future elections.
A letter and a plan.
Contrary to the forecasts of political analysts and opinion pollsters, in the Spanish general elections of 2023, the Socialist Party managed to increase votes and even added one more deputy. In any case, it could not beat the Popular Party, which achieved an electoral surge thanks to the disappearance of Ciudadanos, the decline of Vox, and the transfer of moderate votes that had previously voted for the PSOE. On the left, Podemos was diluted by joining a coalition led by the Minister of Labor and member of the Communist Party of Spain, Yolanda Díaz. For their part, the Catalan nationalists lost votes to the socialists. Faced with this new distribution of seats in the lower house of the Spanish state, the Popular Party tried to make a pact with the Basque Nationalist Party, which refused to invest Alberto Núñez Feijóo, leader of the Conservatives, as the new president of the government. Again, only Pedro Sánchez had the opportunity to form a government, but this time he needed the support not only of the Basques, but also of the Catalan pro-independence right wing, the Together for Catalonia party, led in exile by Carles Puigdemont, the former president of the Catalan government when the illegal self-determination referendum of Catalonia was held in 2017, who is a member of the European Parliament, despite having a trial pending in Spain for disobedience and embezzlement of public funds. In order to obtain the necessary support from the Catalans, Pedro Sánchez resorted to the approval of an amnesty law that would eliminate the crimes committed by the Catalan rulers in 2017, something that, again, Sánchez promised he would not do because it was unconstitutional. After announcing the new law, the General Congress of the Judiciary, the governing body of judges in Spain, also declared it unconstitutional. After this, we come to April 2024, a date close to the Catalan elections of May 12th, in which the Socialist Party of Catalonia has a lot at stake, since this region has become one of its great granaries of votes. And if we take into account the latest news of the judicial investigations of Pedro Sánchez's wife, this would not be a good start to the election campaign and could diminish the votes of the socialists. This is why many political analysts have described Pedro Sánchez's threat to resign as a plebiscite on his figure, wanting to offer a kind of reflection for the country's left-wing voters that it is him against all. It is him against the fascists of the right and the extreme right, who supposedly would be degenerating democracy through hoaxes, lies, and insults. After announcing that he is staying, the president of the government went to an evening interview on public television, the one his party controls. He announced that he would take measures against the disinformation media financed by the right wing, and opened the door to an assault on the judiciary as never seen before. And the fact is that in Spain, the judge's organ of power, the already named General Congress of the Judiciary, has been pending renewal for more than 5 years. In order to renew the judiciary, a pact between the PSOE and the Popular Party is necessary, something that to date seems impossible. And with this step, Sánchez would seek to ignore the opposition to unilaterally renew the judiciary, thus further increasing its influence and power in the state and attacking head-on the separation of powers proper to a state under the rule of law. It is the imminent attack on the freedom of expression of the media, his intrusion into the judiciary of the state, his colonization of state agencies and public companies, together with the support of right and left-wing nationalist formations in Catalonia and the Basque Country, in exchange for preferential treatment and privileges in the distribution of public funds that makes the opposition fear, with a Pedro Sánchez impossible to oust from the government. In fact, the leader of the Popular Party, Alberto Núñez Feijóo, has called to defend the independence of the judiciary and the freedom of information of the media, and has already announced that they will request the appearance of the president in the lower house to give explanations of the relationship between the business activities of his wife and ongoing corruption cases, warning that, if he does not attend, he will be called to testify in the upper house, in the Senate of Spain, where the conservatives have an absolute majority. And here we come by today. I hope you found this video interesting, but before finishing, I want to ask you, what do you think of Pedro Sánchez? Do you think his threatened resignation was a political maneuver? Do you think Spain will turn towards an increasingly authoritarian regime? I look forward to reading your responses in the comments section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate notifications so you don't miss any new content. See you in the next video!